Hey everybody, welcome to That Handicapping Show. I'm Evan Hammonds. I'm joined today by Frank Angst. We have a couple of vacationers this week in Tom Lamara and Claire Novak, heading into a big holiday weekend, or two holiday weekends, I think. But with the between now and the end of the holiday weekend next week, we have 26 graded stakes. We're going to look at two of them today. Excuse me, for this weekend, we're going to look at the New York Stakes at Belmont Park and the Iowa Derby at Prairie Meadows. We're going to start off at Belmont Park. We have a field of 8 fillies and mares. We have a lot of them cutting back 1/8 of a mile coming out of the Sheepshead Bay handicap that was run on a very yielding surface on Memorial Day. We've got a couple of new horses in here, and actually two of the morning line favorites. Lady of Shamrock is coming from California. And Dream Peace is the 5-2 morning line favorite coming out of the Beaugay Stakes. I'm going to turn it over to Frank. You're the king of Belmont Park these days. Tell us how you break it down.
Well, I was looking at the Sheepshead Bay. Obviously, you have to, more than half the field's coming out of that race. And one thing I noticed is that was a stretch of days where horses were closing very well on the inner turf. And of late, it's been more presser speed types have been doing well on the inner turf. And the horse that fits that profile for me is Star Former. I'm not sure what happened in the Sheepshead Bay. I looked at the Naira notes, and Bill Mott only said that he expects a turnaround in form. So obviously there was no injury or anything involved. He wouldn't be running a horse back in a race if there was. So I expect this horse to bounce back, and typically she races near the lead and fits that profile. She has been well backed at the windows, and hopefully that's not quite as much the case this time. Hopefully maybe some people will see that poor performance in that race and get a little better price this time.
Yeah, she was kind of in a good spot, but then on the turn just kind of disappeared when they were turning for home in that race. So.
Which is not typical.
No.
If it was, I wouldn't be picking her. So I look for her to bounce back to the form that more of her normal form here.
And the surface will be, even though they're racing on the same inner turf course, it should be a different surface. It should be a lot drier in New York this weekend. Well,
there's some chance of rain, though, so that obviously we'll want to keep an eye on that.
Okay.
But even that said, she's run well on off turf,
yeah,
so
that's true.
I don't think that was totally her problem. I'm not sure what it was, but I expect her to bounce back.
Yeah. Well, very good. I had the good fortune of actually betting Tannery in the Sheepshead Bay, but I'm not going to go against her this time, and I'm going to go with the horse that ran second, which is Aunt Jazz. Got a great pedigree by Street Cry out of a mare that Darley paid $10 million for. Really blew the break in the Sheepshead Bay, which I don't know how much that cost her. Both her and Tannery were running best at the end of the Sheepshead Bay. Both come from well off the pace, which you say is not quite the way to go on the Belmont turf these days.
Well, I mean, it can change from day to day.
But I think she turns the tables this time around. It'll be her third start in the United States. I'm always a big believer in kind of that third start back or third start off a layoff. So I'm going to go with Aunt Jazz on top. And you're going with
Star Former.
Very good. On to Prairie Meadows, where we have the Iowa Derby. Actually, they have a couple of good races. They have the Iowa Oaks and also the Prairie Meadows Cornhusker. Interesting field in the Iowa Derby. Always is. Last year's winner was Hanson. You got horses that are probably a notch below what you'd find on the Triple Crown Trail. Two interesting horses here are Double Play and Bashar. Both were Churchill Downs-based horses that went up to Prairie Meadows, prepped in the Prairie Meadows mile, I think, which was their prep race 4 weeks back. And they're going to go a mile on 16th. And Frank, who do you like in
I mean, I like that move of Kenny McPeak sending our Double Play out to Prairie Meadows for a prep race. It's funny because I usually like to take horses that come off the pace at Prairie Meadows. It's more so you can make that move more so at that track than a lot of others. And there's actually a lot of early speed in this race.
There is a lot of early speed.
So certainly I'm taking a closer here.
Okay.
But no, I'm sticking with our Double Play. And really, it's based on some quality pace numbers. I like Brisnett's pace numbers, which we're using this week. And I trust them, and this horse just really seems to have a pace advantage. I went and watched the previous race, and he leads basically every step, but although it is contested very early, he then establishes himself on the lead, And then Bashar makes a big move coming off the turn,
Yeah.
and it looks for all the world like he's going to blow on
Yeah.
by, but then our double play shows that he has another gear. And that just set me, that made my, put some confidence in my pick on our double play. I just, looking at the pace numbers, even though there is a lot of speed, I still think he's going to be in his comfort zone early.
Yeah.
And I think he'll have enough late again. And maybe this is a horse that emerges towards some of the big summer 3-year-old stakes this year.
Yeah, this is a chance really to step up, or and a big pot and a way to go. I'm going to go the opposite way with another speed horse, and that's Menando, which is from Bob Baffert, who has won this race 3 times and twice out of the last 3 years. I just think he has a knack for sending the right horse to Prairie Meadows and picking up a big pot. Again, he's a horse that likes to be on the front end. You noted earlier while we were talking about the race that he has done his best running on synthetic, but the Betfair Hollywood Park synthetic to me plays a lot more like dirt. He's got some good back class. He ran pretty well against Golden Sense, and I just think as far as a type play, that's the way I'm going to go. So I'm going to play him just win in place and not get too crazy with exotics. And they also have the, as I mentioned earlier, they also have the Iowa Oaks and the Cornhusker, where we have Silver Max, who was a star on the turf, going to strut his stuff on the main track there at Prairie Meadows. Anyway, that about wraps up our 2 races we're covering this weekend. Again, between now and July 6th, there are 26 graded races, so there's going to be plenty of opportunity for handicapping. I'm Evan Hammonds. Frank Angst, thanks for stepping in for Tom and Claire. We'll come back and see you soon on That Handicapping Show.